Hey everybody, welcome to a quick tutorial about the Maya menu builder. If the installation has been done correctly and you've set up the userSetup Python file, then in Maya you should have this example menu pop up when you launch Maya. So as you can see, you just have a few buttons and one submenu. So if you want to just hit the launch menu builder, then this pops up. So just as a quick little thing, there's a little help menu at the top here that brings you to a link on YouTube for the video for setting up the user setup file in case you forget, and also the template user setup file that comes with the program so that you can create the Python file by copying and pasting this into a text editor and saving it as a .py file. Okay. So as you can see here, we have our existing menus. This existing menus is only going to show what is the menus that are existing in Maya currently. So as you can see, we only have the example menu. So if I go to the drop-down menu, you can see that it shows up here. This drop-down menu will not show if you have other menu files that are created by this tool that exist in the folder. When you have Maya already launched, they will not show up in this drop-down menu. Like I said, this drop-down menu is only going to display the menus that are existing in Maya currently. So that's the only one. So the first thing we're going to do is rename our example menu here. So I'm going to name it Cool New Menu. So as you can see, it has renamed the menu here as well as up here in Maya. And it has also renamed the file associated with the menu that exists in the menus folder of the tool, which I will show you right now. So if I go to the location under the RF tools folder, Python, util, the Maya menu builder, and the menus folder here, you can see that you have your cool new menu right here. If I copy and paste it here, and I rename it to cool new menu 2, notice that, again, like I said before, it does not show up here. So since I've created a new menu, what you can do is that you can load menu from file. And it has to be, these YAML files have to be the ones created by this tool because they are in a specific format. So now we'll just double click this guy and import this menu into Maya. So now you can see we now have the two menus here as well as up here. They're just the same menus, but as you can see, we have both. So now I'm just going to delete this new menu that I just imported. And when you do this delete, it will delete the menu in Maya, but it will, just as a danger, this will also delete the YAML file associated with that menu. So please be careful before you hit delete. As you can see, that menu is no longer with us. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to create a brand new menu. So if I go down here, I'll go down to the new custom menu. This will give us a blank slate and we can name it whatever we want. And add buttons. You can modify this one as much as you want as 2, but I'm just showing you how to create a brand new one from scratch. So to create a brand new one, you must go to the new custom menu dropdown. And here we're going to name our new menu. And then now you can start adding buttons and submenus and dividers if you want. So first we're going to add a button. So you can either right click in the tree to open up a little pop-up menu, or you can hit the buttons at the bottom. So we'll just add a button here. We're going to double click this and rename it to create polysphere. So now that we've created this new button, on the right over here, you can see where you need to place your code, which language that you want Maya to execute this button in, as well as any icons that are associated that you want to add to the button. So I'm going to go over here to the poly modeling shelf. I'm going to right click the polysphere button on the shelf and hit edit. So as you can see, it's a mel command here. So I'm just going to copy and paste that over here into the command. I'm going to change the language to mel because that's what the command is over here. And then one more thing to get from this menu is then right click it, go to shelves, and then I'm going to copy and paste this PNG file over to the icon. So this icon text here can either be a default Maya icon like I just did with the polysphere here. So Maya would be smart enough to find this PNG file. But you can also place whatever PNG file that you have on your computer and paste the path here. And that's what this browse button's for. So you can browse to anything that you want. But for the sake of this button, we're just going to use the built-in Maya icon. Okay, so now let's create a submenu. So I'm going to right click here. I'm going to add submenu. And I'm going to rename this one modeling. Then I'm going to click and drag the Create Polysphere button I've created and place it under the modeling submenu. So now you have a submenu that has a button in it. So just as a note with how these buttons work, as well as the pop-up menu here, is that it's dependent on what you have selected. So if I have nothing selected here and I hit Add Button, it'll place it at the root. I'm just going to delete that. However, if I have something selected, specifically a submenu, and I hit Add Button, it'll add the button underneath that menu. And as you can see, when you right-click a button, you can only add a divider, and that'll add a divider right below it. So as you can see, you can't add a submenu or a button to and nest it underneath a button. But when you hit the Add Divider, what it does is it'll add a divider below your button or whatever you have selected. So I'm going to move this divider up just one, and I'm going to rename this button to Create NURBS Sphere. So now I'm going to go over to the Curves and Surfaces shelf, and I'm going to go right-click the NURBS Sphere command. So that's just a simple mel command as well. I'm going to place that code in here. Choose mel. I'm going to grab the icon that it's using. And as you can see, when you go back to the other buttons, it saves your commands and your PNG and your paths to your icons. So now I'm going to add another submenu to the root of our new menu. And I'm going to name this one rigging. I'm going to add a button to it. And I'm going to name that one NG Skin Tools. So this tool is developed by Viktoras Makauskas. Forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong, but it is a skinning tool that I use when I'm rigging things. I'm using this tool to show you as an example that if you have a tool that you've saved over the years and you have a command that runs that tool, that you can apply that and use it in your new menu. So I'm going to go over to this NG Skin Tools tab. I'm going to right click the command that it runs to open the user interface for his tool. I'm going to copy that, paste it in the command, and notice that this time it's a Python command, so I make sure that I'm on Python. And he's got his own icon here as well, so I'm going to paste that right here. So now you can see we have 3 different buttons. 2 of them are using mel language, and 1 is using the Python language. They each have their own unique icons, and I think we're going to be done here. So now that I've got my menu the way that I want, I've entered in all my commands. If you forget to place a command for a button, the tool will warn you about placing a command for a button. If you want to start from scratch and just start over, you can just hit the Clear All button and it'll clear this whole menu that you've been building over time, and you can start over. So if you need to go check out a different menu or something like that, you can go switch to another menu here, and if you come back, it'll come back and all your work won't disappear. So you can kind of come back and continue working on this thing. So that's pretty much it for the tool. The last thing that we need to do is actually to create the menus. So if I go down here to the bottom right, hit the Create New Menu. As you can see, now we have a new menu in Maya. Modeling, we have our Create Polysphere, Create NURBS Sphere with those icons that we talked about. You can use the built-in ones in Maya, or you can actually input a path or browse to a path to a PNG file to put as a custom icon if you wish. And as you can see, we got our rigging tool. And then if you need to obviously modify any of these menus, I added a button at the end of all your menus to relaunch the menu builder tool for you. So that will always be there at the bottom. So now, as you can see, we'll just try Create Polysphere. There we go. We got our polysphere right there. So when you create a new menu, when you hit that Create New Menu button here, like I said, it adds the menu in Maya for you, but then it also saves this as a YAML file. So as you can see under the RF tools, where the menu builder tool exists, under the RF tools folder, you now have your new menu, which contains all the data and information, the commands, the language, and the icon paths for your menu, so that when you do launch the tool again, so if I close this and relaunch it, remember that these things pop up only if they exist up here, but it knows now what to build. And then, like I said, if you want to copy and paste, you can copy one of these menus, or if you have another friend or colleague that's also using this tool and they've built a menu for you, or you want to share menus with each other, you can just put the YAML files in this folder. And the only thing to remember is that these files need to be here in order for when Maya does start up, after you've obviously set up your user setup file, the user setup file tells Maya to look into this folder directory to populate these menus up here. So if your menu does not exist here as a YAML file that was built by the tool, they will not pop up here. So so that's why make sure that you have set up your userSetup.py file correctly. I've made another video that I'll link to in the description if you forget how to do that. And like I said, if you forget, then obviously you have the little help here and it will direct you to that video to help you out. All right, that's pretty much it. That's the Maya Menu Builder tool and how to use it. It's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, concerns, or feature requests, bugs, report them to me as soon as possible, and I will be sure to address those fixes as quickly as possible. So yeah, thank you for purchasing the Maya Menu Builder. I really appreciate it. It helps me out. And hopefully this tool will be a great addition to your tool belt. And then now you can actually organize all your shelves and tools into a much more compact menu system inside Maya. Then you don't have to do any of like the actual coding to build the menu or anything like that. So once again, thank you for purchasing the Maya Menu Builder tool, and have fun and enjoy the tool.